of heavyweight boxing today.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, so Wilder versus Washington. Good fight. Before I get to everything, I came out with a video June 3rd, 2016. The title was Gerald Washington, does he have the style to beat Deontay Wilder? That was last year in June when I came out with that, June 3rd. I always thought that this fight stylistically, would be intriguing based on just the the size of Washington, his type of build. This is the first time Wilder would be in the ring with somebody like this, and it'd be the first time that Washington's been in the ring with somebody like Wilder too. Let's not forget that, But they're both around 6'6". Well, Washington's 6'6", Wilder's listed as 6'7". Gerald comes in around 250, between 245 and 250. Wilder has been as high. I know he's like 228 or something like that, 229, right under 230. So I think naturally Gerald is probably about 20 pounds heavier than Deontay. You look at their reaches. Wilder has 83-inch reach, Washington 82. So pretty much as far as height and reach, pretty much the same. Wilder just have the advantage by an inch. Washington, to me, I believe he's the naturally heavier guy. As far as their legs and being able to move, you can argue that Gerald Washington probably has better legs than Deontay Wilder. Definitely Deontay Wilder has the power advantage. He has one of the deadliest right hands in the division, hands down. I want to see, speaking of hands, I want to see how his right hand is going to look in this fight. I know he said that his hand's 110%. Doctor told him his hand's going to be stronger than before. Of course, the fighter's going to say that. He's not going to say, yeah, my hand is 66%. He's not going to tell us that. So want to see if he's going to be tentative. He's going to be cautious throwing the right hand. And throwing your right hand, against a human body is a lot different than, hitting the heavy bag, hitting the teardrop bag, and hitting the mitts and hitting the speed bag. It's a lot different. So it's going to, especially when it's live and in a fight. I know he got the sparring, but it's going to be different, though, when it's a fight night. So curious to see how that's going to look. When I break down the styles of the two fighters, man, this is just going to be intriguing to me, man, because both of these guys, I've heard Wilder say in his last recent fights that he wants to think his way through fights, set things up with his jab. He's not really trying to run out there and get you out there in a round or two. If the opportunity presents itself, he'll take it. But for the most part, he wants to keep that jab on you, keep a distance, set up his right hand, his left hooks. If you're pressuring him, he will, go on the back foot a little bit. He likes to pivot and turn, hit you with that check left hook, and catch you and walk you into something. Washington, on the other hand, is a counterpuncher himself. He wants to fight off his back foot, keep his distance, keep his range with his jab. So I could see a fencing contest the first few rounds of this fight. It's just, both these guys, one thing about Gerald is he carries his hands low, and a lot of people think that Wilder should be able to come over the top of that low left hand and knock him out. The good thing for Gerald is Wilder keeps his hands low too. So I guess we'll see, man. I guess we'll see. You could probably favor Wilder's jab over Washington's. Wilder's jab looks a little bit more, pinpoint and thudding, and it looks like it hurts his opponents a little bit more than Washington. But Washington, only thing he has to do is, he has to get the timing down. If Wilder can't catch his timing, man, and Gerald's moving all over the place and he's having a hard time, getting him where he wants him, it could be a rough night. Gerald has a tendency to back up in straight lines sometimes because he likes to put the jab out there. He's usually bigger than all the guys he's fighting, so he puts the jab out there, keep you in front with the jab. He can move back and he's out of range. He got long-ass arms. But he's in there with somebody that has even longer reach than him, and he could be in line for a right hand as he's moving back a straight line and get hit with that straight right hand. That could happen. Gerald, I've seen him land some good counters on Amir Mansour, some good straight right hand counters and good uppercuts he landed on Amir Mansour when he was coming forward. So that's something Deontay is going to have to look out for. I think Deontay Wilder is going to be the one that's going to be the aggressor in this fight. I think he's going to be the aggressor. Not necessarily coming out there throwing, wild punches and just trying to go crazy being aggressive, but I think he'll be the one that will fight on the front foot in this fight. I could be wrong, man. This is all just a guessing game right now. A lot of people question Washington's stamina. They say look at the Mansoor fight, look at the Chambers, or look at the Mansoor fight and the Aguilera fight. In those fights, Amir Mansour is known for putting pressure on people. So that's anybody. So yes, a guy like Washington who is still learning, a 250-pound guy. I'm not sure how much he weighed for the Mansour fight, but a big guy like that, he, if he's fighting at a fast pace, then yeah, he's gonna be a little bit winded towards the end of the fight because he's fighting at a much faster pace than he would like. He wants to keep the jab on you and pick you apart. Like a Vladimir Klitschko type, Larry Holmes type. He wants to pick you apart with the jab right hand. So if you're, making him fight at a much faster pace, then yeah, he's going to get a little fatigued, a little bit tired because he's not used to fighting at that pace. Wilder isn't a guy that really wants to fight at a fast pace like that. I mean, he likes to let combinations go. And if you shield up the way Duapa was just shielding up, trying to take shots and come forward, or even like Berman Stavern, then yeah, Wilder's going to take the initiative and land his punches and keep you out there, and keep those combinations on you. But I'm not sure Wilder, is going to fight at a relentless pace the way Mansour was. Even Aguilera, that was, he was coming forward in that fight and just trying to pressure Gerald Washington as best as he could. Sometimes you can pressure a guy without even throwing punches. You can just pressure him by standing in front of him, moving your head. It's just making him think. Just making them think fast. That's also pressure. People think pressure is just throwing punches, a whole bunch of punches at guys, a barrage of punches. But you can put pressure on the guy by just standing in front of him and pressuring him with your feet. Walking him down, feinting him, make him react to feints, make him react to everything that you're doing. You just making them think constantly. That, is pressure also. So Wilder, I think, is going to have to just pressure Washington, man, and test his stamina. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say because Mansour was able to get him tired, a little bit tired down the stretch, and all those guys. Now you may say with Wilder's better fighter than those guys, yeah, but he doesn't necessarily fight like that. He's not trying to pressure you to that degree. I mean, look at the Spilka fight. He fought from a good range and kept his jab. Even Areola till he started hurting him, he set up everything with the jab. So I think this is a damn good fight, man. I know I didn't talk about everything in this fight, but I'm glad that Wilder is taking on undefeated fighter. This era, there's eras sometimes like the like Klitschko, Vladimir Klitschko and Larry Holmes' run was kind of similar to me in certain ways, and one of the similarities that they have, I think some of the guys of today will have some of the same similarities once they whoever emerges as the top dog is going to have some nice undefeated records that he was able to take away from guys. So I think this era will be just kind of, it'd be similar to when Vladimir was in his run. I know he's still around. I know he's fighting Joshua. He could probably beat Joshua, but Holmes and Vladimir is similar in ways like Vladimir fought Fury when he was undefeated, Jennings when he was undefeated, Pulev, Povetkin, Marius Wach, Ruzan Chigayev, Abragimov, Calvin Brock, who else? Francisco Pianata. Did I say Marius Wach already? He fought all those guys when they were undefeated. Some guys were battle tested more than others. Some guys, some people say they wasn't ready yet. He still gave guys their shot. Larry Holmes is the same way. He fought an undefeated Spinks, Carla Truth Williams, David Bay, Frazier, Scott Frank, Jerry Cooney, Witherspoon, Big Bad Leroy Jones. Who else did he fight? Ronaldo Snipes. I think there's like two more people that he fought, but he was another guy that fought a lot of undefeated guys. Some guys, they don't fight a lot of undefeated, and I guess it just was going on in that era. Lennox Lewis he didn't fight a lot of undefeated fighters. I know he fought Michael Grant when he was champion, and he fought the dude on HBO that was from Croatia. Forgot that dude's name. Had the mohawk haircut. He was like 20 something and old when Lennox fought him. Mike Tyson fought Tony Tucker and Tyrell Biggs when they were undefeated. So some guys fight more undefeated fighters in their reign. It's just what's going on, who are some of the contenders and prospects. But as long as you're giving those guys an opportunity, I like that because it's only so many times that a title holder can fight, and no disrespect to these guys, but it's only so long that they can fight Samuel Peter and Chris Arreola. You know, it's only so many times those guys can keep getting title shots. They start to become recycled fighters, and we start to see recycled fights. So you have to fight some of these new up and coming guys like a Gerald Washington. Again, some of you may say, hey, he's not you know, he's still unproven. Some of the guys are still unproven, but he can prove himself on fight night. You know, but there's a shitload of undefeated prospects that are, you know, getting ranked in sanctioning bodies, and they're, you know, right there in the sanctioning bodies to get their title shots, man, or guys that are moving up to get title shots. Jarrell Miller, Gerald Washington, Trevor Bryan, Huey Fury, Iju Ogono, Tom Schwartz, Michelle Wallace, Trevor Bryan. You got Adrian Granat, who's about to step up and fight Alexander Dimitrenko. If he wins that, I'm sure he'll be in somebody's rankings, probably the IBF or the WBO, one of those rankings. But yeah, man, this is just one of those eras where there's just a lot of undefeated guys right now. A lot of them. And then you got the big top dogs like the Wilders and Parkers and Joshuas. Even Lucas Brown is still out there. I know he tested, you know, he had a failed drug test, but he's still undefeated. He's still out there. You know what I mean? So, and Anthony Joshua, when he won his belt, who did he fight? An undefeated fighter, Dominic Brazil. When Fury, who was undefeated, fought Vladimir and they stripped Fury of the IBF, why did they strip him? Because they wanted him to fight who? An undefeated fighter, Tsar Glazkov. They stripped him. Fury didn't want to fight. They had Glazkov fight who? The undefeated fighter, Charles Martin. You know what I mean? Joshua beat Charles Martin when he was undefeated. So a lot of undefeated records, man. So I like this. I like that Wilder is putting his hand, you know, in the jar of grabbing out an undefeated fighter and giving them a shot. Again, some of you say, hey, this guy's unproven. Some of these guys are going to be unproven. That's just how it is. Some are going to be proven more than others. But it's not all about just being undefeated. But when you have a lot of undefeated fighters, you want some of these guys to start fighting each other. So, and this is a good fight here on American soil. You know, somebody asked me, how can the American fighters get known more and get more, you know, crowd participation behind them? And I kept saying, shit, make some good, for the heavyweight division, make some good heavyweight fights for us. The rest of the world might not like this fight, and that's fine because you can't please everybody. But for this type of fight, short notice, this is a good fight for American fight fans. To me, fight fans across the world, if you ask me, but especially for the American fight fans. Two dudes from America, they're both undefeated. They both look the part. There's no fat hanging off anybody. There's no, you know, they both look the part. You know, so I think this is a good fight, man. Just like I think, well, I know Jarrell Miller's trying to fight Ortiz right now. That's another good one. I hope that fight gets made. But I remember when I was calling for Jarrell Miller to fight Trevor Bryan last year. I wanted to see that fight. You know, so the best way for us American fans to, you know, get involved with these fights, man, is to get these undefeated guys fighting each other. You know, Trey Lippe Morrison is another guy that I want to, you know, that I'm curious to see this year fight. He's undefeated right now. He's another guy. LaRon Mitchell's another undefeated heavyweight. I want to see what he does. There's a lot of them. I don't want to start naming them all because I'm going to forget somebody. But this is a good fight, Washington versus Wilder. I know a lot of people, and even me, have, you know, said, man, I wish that Washington would fight a little bit more aggressive. But when I sat down and did that interview with him the first week of January, when I did that interview, he, you know, he was answering my questions. And what he said makes sense, you know. With his height and his build, the first thing people look at is they think Lennox Lewis. But as he was saying and telling me, he's like, man, I'm still learning the game, man. It's hard to just jump in the ring and just be Lennox Lewis. Like, that's pretty fucking difficult to do. And I understood where he was coming from. So he's still learning the game. He's trying to master defense, using his jab and using his legs. He's trying to use his strengths. His coach, John Pullman, they're trying to bring what he's good at and try to make it great. You know what I mean? So I respect him for that, and I respect that his coach is teaching him defense and how to move and get the fuck out the way, because this is the heavyweight division. One punch can turn your lights out, man. So he's just trying to take what he's good at and trying to be great at it, and he's trying to learn other things and pick up other things too. And that's one thing I took away from Gerald when I talked to him, is he's a guy that you can tell still wants to learn. He lives in the gym. He's been in the gym. He's going to be in great shape for this fight. He lives, 2 blocks away from his gym, the Pullman's gym. So he stays in the gym, man. So he's going to be ready. I seen him sparring Dominic Brazil last week. So I know he's been getting some good sparring in with Dominic Brazil, Joey DeWeco. A few other guys out there that he told me that he spars on a regular basis. So good fight, man. This is a good fight. A lot of people thought he should have knocked out Eddie Chambers, and it's funny because it's like, man, I don't know if you guys don't know, but Eddie Chambers really isn't a guy that gets knocked out like that. He got knocked out against Klitschko, but that was it. And Klitschko knocked him out with that left hand, and that was the 12th round of the Klitschko fight. I think it was like under a minute or something of left of that round, if I'm not mistaken. But he got knocked out in the 12th round with a left hook by Klitschko. He got knocked out cold. But rather than that, Eddie Chambers doesn't get knocked out, man. So his only KO defeat, it was the Klitschko. So to me, I thought Gerald looked good in that fight. He was using the jab, threw some good right hands. He looked more he looked sharp in that fight. He looked sharp in that fight. And even the Ray Austin fight, I seen a clip of that, and he looked good in that one too. He took care of business against the older big Ray Austin, but he took care of business. But the Chambers fight, he looked sharp in that fight, man. Chambers, again, he's not somebody that's easy to get knocked out. So we can't just say, oh, you should have knocked him out. Should have went 12 with Klitschko. He got knocked out in 12, but he went 12 with Klitschko. And Chambers is a defensive-minded type of guy. Good chin. Smaller heavyweight, but knows how to fight. He was one of the top prospects in 2005, 2006, around there, something like that. So, you know, Washington did what he had to do, man. But this is going to be a good fight, man. I'm going to do a lot more videos on this fight as the, time approaches for the fight. The fight gets closer. But I'm happy with this fight, man. Washington versus Wilder. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm out.